Shall we talk Girls Trip?
Yes, let's breeze ahead to Girls Trip. This is Girls Trip without an apostrophe. I wondered if this was possibly one of those mispunctuated film titles like 2 Weeks' Notice or Law Abiding Citizen without the hyphen. But the lack of the apostrophe is key because the tripping is a present tense verb. You know, they are tripping, they are losing their minds, they are becoming irrational and, you know, losing the plot of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's about four women who, let's start with the first one is played by Regina Hall, who plays this self-help author, Ryan Pierce, who has this growing empire based on her public image of being resilient, hyper-capable African-American woman who's in a loving marriage. And so she's writing these books that are very, you know, selling very well. And she's going to Essence Fest, which is this big African-American cultural event in New Orleans, in order to do a stage Q&A and hopefully sell some more books and strike some deals while she's out there. She decides that this will be the ideal time for a reunion with the Flossie Posse, who were her friends from long ago, played by Queen Latifah, Jada Pinkett Smith and Tiffany Haddish. You can kind of see...
Posse, that's a good name.
It's gearing towards The Hangover, where you have four old friends brought back together with new pressures and all sorts of chaos ensuing. Something, you know, The Hangover is a very, very instructive comparison point for this, because you see these films done with Caucasian men all the time. Mm-hmm. And actually to see black women, or really anyone who's not a Caucasian man, behaving badly, because this is exactly what you're in for in this film, is, you know, gross out comedy, meltdowns, fights, dance-offs, all of this stuff. But the fact that it's being done by people that we've not really seen do this before at all, I find really kind of refreshing, and it gives it a more transgressive edge than just seeing the story played out again with the expected lineup would have ever done. It's also very, very smart on the fact that black culture can be commodified and sold on in a way that is not necessarily serving anyone particularly well. There's a clip here of a conversation that Ryan has with her white agent, who's played by Kate Walsh, where she tries to use a certain slang that she maybe perhaps shouldn't be using.
Really excited to meet the Flossie Posse. You girls are gonna be kikiing all weekend.
Okay, Liz.
Yeah.
And I say this out of love.
Preach, girl.
Please refrain from saying things like preach or go girl, bye Felicia, ratchet, or any other colloquialisms that you may have heard or looked up on Urban Dictionary.
I'm not even offended. You're the best.
Thank you. Okay.
Have fun on your hashtag Black Girl Magic Weekend. Girl, bye.
So the film doesn't labour any of this at all, but it's there and it's ticking away quite cleverly,
saying something
under the surface. Exactly. So there is that going on. And as I say, to an extent, if you've seen The Hangover, you know what to expect. But there's this really telling moment where Queen Latifah's character is out in a street party in the French Quarter, and she looks up at these guys ziplining between the balconies. You know, the kind of old wrought iron, amazing street balconies there. And she looks up and she says, "That's some white boy activity." You know? So this is something that is for them.
Yeah.
However, later in the film, as the preamble to this quite astonishing gross out set piece, really for the ages, which involves some very full bladders, and let's leave it there. But the women find themselves out on the same zip line doing the same activity. So it's very much saying, you know, anything you can do, we can do too. And as I say, in a very, very refreshing way. Not all of it works. There are some set pieces that are spun out well beyond their natural lifespan, and you sense that, you know, with maybe just a couple more set piece ideas condensed, the film would have really pounded along in the same way as the original Hangover film did, and of course none of the sequels did even slightly. But there is enough surface level fun and shenanigans going on, and enough to chew over as well, that made me enjoy this film much, much more than I was expecting. The director is Malcolm D. Lee, whose previous films, Best Man Holiday, Barbershop, The Next Cut, they're all ensemble comedies, but they didn't really ever seem to be saying quite as much and quite so cleverly as Girls Trip.